What a great exposition of new education policy from the point of view of Indianization, Bharatiyata. कृष्ण गोपाल जी ने उसका आविष्करण किया पूरी तरह से. According to me, this was a bit delayed. India has the greatest form of education in every field of life. For the past thousands of years, one after the other, invasions have taken place, the last of it being the British. The pity of the matter is that even after those invasions, our method of teaching virtually remained unaffected, because those dynasties were busy in only looting India, but they did not touch our systems deep. Though British people did something through Macaulay after some time. But big damage was done after independence, according to that is my personal view. Some perverted fellows were put in the seat of prescribing our syllabus, preparing our textbooks, all distortions. Their central theme was to denigrate everything which is Indian. And a typical student felt that he will be treated as the intellectual just on account of his either being indifferent to or, if not, highly contemptuous towards Indian culture. That state of affairs has prevailed. Now today, if you find a student or a youngster who is well behaved and who is cultured, the first question that occurs to anyone is, "ये क्या सरस्वती शिशु मंदिर से आए क्या?" That first it occurs. And in education has been virtually commercialized. One of our Chief Justice used to say in those days, that is in the 80s, education has become more profitable next only to excise, that is selling this liquor and all that, intoxicants. Today education has surpassed that also. Unable to count the notes, they put them in gunny bags at the time of admissions, and later on they count through missions, counting missions. That is the state of affairs. Coming to these 2 days, very important and a practical step towards real nation building. Bharatiyata in higher education. It is very much overdue and essential. Now, every country or any country will be anxious, if not proud, to associate or to identify its own culture, its own identity. Now, if a nation is formed newly, they have to struggle a lot to create their own identity. That problem doesn't exist in case of India, because we have thousands of years of old legacy in every field of life. And if at all anybody that has neglected it, it was only our people. For instance, plastic surgery. The only textbook which is followed throughout the world in anatomy is the one written by Gray's Anatomy. If you take the chapter on plastic surgery, the first sentence says, the first plastic surgery was conducted by Shushruta. He has that honesty. But whereas our people, our honors, see the reverse part of it in India. Recently I have come across a book entitled Makers of New India. Normally we expect all our people, so many contributions are made, and one cannot ignore the contribution of great leaders like Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose or Sardar Patel or Swami Vivekananda. The author of that book rights. Whom did he include? Elvin, who was responsible for conversions, Rashid Alvi, so many persons. And he says, I did not refer to these three names in my book. I did not write about them because they did not make their own contribution. Any positive contribution. According to him, Swami Vivekananda, Sardar Patel, or Subhash Chandra Bose did not make any contribution, whereas others did it. And who is the author? Ramachandra Guha. And these, so noted a historian and all that, there is no dearth of people like that. You name any field, the achievement is there. A great scientist like Albert Einstein, abhi uska zikr bhi kara tha. He said that without India's invention of zero, today's science would not have been possible at all. So many others also. You take the field of alchemy, the chemistry, Mount Everest. If our child, of our youngster knows that the person who has measured the height of Everest was Radhanath Shakdar, he will be at once proud to know that, but his name is completely kept down, and his superior, who was envious and angry towards him, has chosen to name it after Everest, who did not do anything about it. Except that he was a head of that organization, he did not do anything about it. Real person was the Radhanath Shakdar. And you can recount so many things. Our Vedic mathematics, even recent mathematics like Ramanujam, Shakuntala, they were honored in England and various other places. These things, if our people are told, their tendency, their respect towards nation, towards our culture would be substantially different. I'll give you one small example. In every field of study, we come across definitions. What is the definition then? When a passage becomes definition and when it becomes description, what is the drawing line? What is the divisive line? Our Purana says, Alpaksharam asandigdam saravad vishwatomukham astobhanama anavadvancha. These are the characteristics of a definition. You cannot add or delete anything from it. Alpaksharam, it should be precise. Asandigdam, it should not be equivocal. It should be completely unequivocal. Saravad vishwatomukham, it should carry the same meaning anywhere across the world. Astobhanam, it should not be plagiarized, and anavadyancha, it should not be such that it cannot be understood, that it is capable of being understood. Then only it qualifies to become a definition. Well, such is the richness of our learning and education. We really pity ourselves that we did not make it part of our study. Recount it, the कृष्ण गोपाल जी ने हमारा CRPC का भी जिक्र किया था. CRPC, CPC, you take anything. What is the definition of a judgment? You don't get there. Even our constitution doesn't say. 5,000 years ago, Vedavasa said, defined what a judgment should be. I do not want to elaborate because I may be accused of being more elaborative on totally unrelated things. But there is a treasure of everything in our learning. Only thing is our people were not made to look at it. At this time, I remember the great observation of Manniya Sudarshan ji. He said the true learning involves 4 stages. Gathering of information, getting knowledge, getting wisdom, then emancipation. It is only when this person crosses these 4 stages, the real learning takes place. But what is the present state of our learning? It stops at information. At least in olden days, the information used to be gathered through books. Now one can just have his cell phone or iPhone or something, he will get the information. So getting information itself is not an education. You should know information is there, but what use that is and what it is capable of, that is knowledge. And once you know the negative and positive aspects of the knowledge or information, you should have the wisdom to use it only for a useful and good purpose, not harmful purpose. That is wisdom. And by using wisdom, you put your knowledge to use, and after you serve the humanity to the best of your ability, then comes the emancipation where you can realize the value of your life. That was the typical Indian education. We have, unfortunately, deprived it to ourselves. That time has come when we have to put these things. Many people feel that the English have made us very cultured, highly educated, and all that. I will refer to two instances and leave it at that. Our former Reserve Bank Governor, V.B. Reddy, spoke in a big session in United States. There he said, with authoritative figures and facts, he said that before the British invasion, India's contribution or share in the international trade was 20%. And by the time they left, it came to 0.5%. And to buttress that, recently our External Affairs Minister Jaishankar said, that too in the context of his visit to UK, he said that there is some doubt about the contribution of British rule to India, what it exactly is. Thorough and detailed research has taken place by agencies, and that revealed that the value of the property, tangible or intangible or whatever it is, that was looted from India and taken to England, in the according to present day value is $49 trillion. $49 trillion worth property of India was looted and taken to British, and that is their contribution to India. And many of our people see that without British, all this would not have been there. History also was completely distorted, and if our child is taught either it should be completely a 5-stage dynasty of Mughals or Lord Ripon, Dalhousie, Clive, Mountbatten, Pura. Nobody deeply goes into even the recent things, either India, ancient history or or recent history, nothing of that sort. The inbuilt character of Indian education, despite all these distortions, still continues. Our culture is framed in such a way, why, irrespective of the level of teaching, level of learning, or the status in the society, the spirituality or the character building was there inherent in it. If you take the instance of Kaushika was he did great penance and got supernatural powers, and he tests with a woman, Grihidi. When that lady was busy in serving her husband, this gentleman goes and they say, Bhoti Bhikshandehi. When she was a bit delayed, he says, I'll curse you. Before coming here to test his powers, he burns a bird. He just sees certain curses and a bird dies there. So this Kaushik tries to exhibit the same amount of anger before this lady, Grihini. Then even before he says anything, that Grihini says, don't think that you can burn me like a bird. I was busy in serving my husband and I am coming to you. What is the difficulty for you? Then the man was flabbergasted. How did this lady know that I have tried my powers with a bird? Then she says, if you want to learn further, what you learned is very small thing. If you want to have a real learning, I will give an address, go there, Mithilami. he goes Dharmavyad. He goes in search of Dharmavyad, and from a distance Dharmavyad recognizes him. Oh, Mr. Kaushik, come here, did that lady send you? This man was further flabbergasted. And what was Dharmavyad? He was a butcher. He was a butcher. And being a butcher, he taught all the the nuances of life and the great qualities of teaching. That is Indian culture. It did not come only any particular source. Recently, one out of many foreign scholars have still great respect to our Indian culture. And one gentleman conducted this research. अभी बोल रहे थे हमारे कृष्ण गोपाल जी, इतने आक्रमण के बावजूद आपका संस्कृति ऐसा कैसे क्यों रही? His research was, and he narrated in the form of a particular finding. He said, a man was suffering from stomachache. Series of doctors came and treated him. One person said, give medicine, some other treatment and all that. Then, after some 20th or 21st person came, and he said that the diagnosis and treatment made given earlier, all that is incorrect. This man is getting stomachache because he ate something in the night of this particular character. So this is my diagnosis and this is my prescription. Karne ke baad, but he said, this prescription, this opinion of mine is subject to any superior opinion. He did not say all others are incompetent and I am the only person. He gave the scope for a better treatment. So that is in every field of life. India never claimed the ultimate thing. It is a continuous process learning in any field of life, and always it leaves a scope for a better way of learning. That is the highest form of tolerance, highest form of keeping your mind open for a higher learning. And that is still intact. And we have to trace all these things and make them available to our young friends. Today, in spite of persons getting high ranks, high percentages, and getting salaries of abnormal amounts, 1 crore, even from our college, one student got 1 crore per year. And in spite of that, people are not happy, and some are unfortunately resorting to either suicides or going for depression. The reason is not difficult to find. They were taught the subjects, but they were not even put the traces of the culture and traces of our adhyatmic chintana in their mind. 6-7 years, about 10 years back, one incident was reported in newspaper. It said, one gentleman from here, I'll take 2-3 minutes and wind it up, sir. He went to a Scandinavian country for livelihood. There, when he was waiting, an old woman was struggling to cross the road. Then this man went and helped her. Thereafter, he got a taxi for her, and she told that she is living alone and she is going to a particular place. She asked, where do you reside and where are you going? Madam, I have not obtained any particular residence as of now. I am just spending my life here. Then out of curiosity, she asked him to accompany her. Then after going home, this gentleman treated her like her mother. He served everything, food, all other things, whatever possible service was there, he rendered. So next day passed, that lady was feeling happy, and she was also wondering, I too have children, nobody comes to me except on Mother's Day or Father's Day, but you are doing it as though you are a highly paid servant and all that. What is it? This man said, this is our culture, we treat our mothers and women like this. Where do you come from? I come from a place in East Godavari. So they lived like that for a few months. She was a rich woman, old woman, but out of curiosity, she came all the way to India and to this place. Then when she went to his house, it was having 3 generations of people, grandmother, then father, mother, then child, and all that, all relations. She thought that the stage was arranged to impress her. Then she went to streets across